You probably should not buy the CyberPowerPC Gamer Supreme, at least not yet. Everyone sees that flashy RGB case, liquid cooling, and a big NVIDIA RTX card on Amazon and thinks, easy choice, slam the buy now button. But here is the thing. What is inside this box can be either an insane value or a seriously frustrating mistake, depending on one detail most people never check. I spent 2 solid weeks gaming, streaming, and editing on this exact Gamer Supreme configuration, and what I found completely flipped my first impression. Because on paper, this thing looks unbeatable, but in real life, there are a few traps you really need to know about. Before we dive into what I discovered, quick heads up. If you are already half sold on the Gamer Supreme and just want the best current price, I will drop my affiliate link down in the description. But stick around, because what I am about to show you might change which version you buy, or if you buy it at all. So here is why I even gave this pre-built a shot. My old DIY rig was rocking an aging GTX 1080 and a tired quad-core CPU. 1440p gaming. It was struggling. Streaming to Twitch while running Warzone and Discord. Total stutter fest. I was spending more time tweaking settings than actually playing. I had already been burned by cheap pre-builts before. Loud fans, mystery power supplies, and motherboards with fewer features than a budget laptop. So when I saw this CyberPowerPC Gamer Supreme on Amazon with an Intel Core i9, RTX 4070 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, 1 TB NVMe SSD, liquid cooling, Wi-Fi, Windows 11, and even a keyboard and mouse thrown in, I was skeptical. It looked like that too good to be true Amazon deal we have all seen. But the price compared to building the same parts myself was tempting. So I decided, fine, I will be the guinea pig and see if this thing actually delivers. The first test was simple. What do you really get when you crack this thing open? Out of the box, the packaging was solid, foam inside the case protecting the GPU, no loose parts. Visually, it is a win. Tempered glass side panel, customizable RGB fans, and a 240mm liquid cooler on the CPU. But then I looked closer. The power supply, not a premium brand, just a generic 80+ unit. The motherboard, a basic B760 board, no fancy VRM cooling, minimal USB ports, and limited BIOS options. At least the RAM in my unit was dual-channel 2x16GB, which is crucial for performance, but I have seen reports of some units shipping with a single 32GB stick, which cripples frame rates. So right away, I knew this is a powerhouse GPU and CPU strapped to some very middle-of-the-road supporting parts. Then I fired it up for what most of you care about, gaming. I tested for about 10 evenings straight, in Cyberpunk 2077 at 1440p, ultra settings with ray tracing on medium and DLSS on balanced. I was averaging around 85 to 95 FPS. In Warzone at 1440p with a mix of high and ultra, it hovered between 140 and 170 FPS. Fortnite on competitive settings. North of 220 FPS, no problem. GPU temps stayed in the low 70s Celsius, CPU in the mid-60s under gaming load thanks to the liquid cooler. So performance-wise, this thing absolutely slaps for 1440p gaming and even dips into 4K if you tweak settings. But then the fans kicked up. Under load, the case fans and AIO can get loud. Not jet engine loud, but definitely audible in a quiet room, and if your mic is close, your stream might pick it up. I did not just game, though. I edited a 10-minute 4K H.264 video in Premiere Pro with color correction, some light effects, and music. Exporting that to 4K YouTube presets took around 6.5 minutes. Multitasking with Chrome, Spotify, and Discord in the background did not slow it down. Streaming was next. I ran Apex Legends at 1440p, while streaming 1080p 60 FPS to Twitch, using OBS with NVIDIA NVENC. The stream was smooth, no dropped frames, and CPU usage stayed under 50%. Here is where it gets interesting. For actual content creators and streamers, this machine is not just a gaming toy, it is legitimately capable. But then I hit the parts nobody talks about on the product page. First, bloatware. Out of the box, Windows had the usual pre-installed trial software and some CyberPower utilities that I uninstalled immediately. Not a deal breaker, but annoying. Second, upgradability. There is room for extra SSDs and some 2.5-inch drives, but the motherboard has limited PCIe slots, and the power supply is not something I would trust for a future RTX 5090 upgrade. And because CyberPower often sources parts from different brands, what I got might be slightly different from what you get, even under the same Gamer Supreme listing. That inconsistency is what makes this tricky. Finally, customer reviews. Digging through Amazon, there are a lot of happy buyers, but also some horror stories of systems arriving DOA or with loose cables. Mine booted first try and has been stable, but you are definitely rolling the dice a bit on quality control. Here is the revelation after 2 weeks of heavy use. The CyberPowerPC Gamer Supreme is not some scammy, underpowered pre-built. The raw performance per dollar, especially around an RTX 4070 Ti or similar GPU and an Intel i7 or i9, is actually really strong compared to big brands like Alienware or HP Omen, which often give you a weaker GPU for the same cash. You are basically paying for top-tier gaming performance with cost savings coming from the less glamorous parts, motherboard, PSU, and sometimes storage brand. If you built this exact spec list yourself, in most cases you would pay a bit more for higher-end components, but you would get better long-term reliability and customization. So is it too good to be true? Not exactly. It is more like, it is very good at the things you can see in the listing and just okay at the things you do not see unless you look under the hood. If you understand that trade-off and accept you might want to upgrade the PSU or add better storage down the line, it can be a smart buy. Now that you know the real story behind what is in this box, if you are leaning toward picking up a Gamer Supreme, you will want to grab it when the price dips or there is a sale, because these Amazon prices jump around a lot. I will leave my affiliate link in the description so you can check the current best deal and the exact configuration I tested. Bottom line, you should not buy the CyberPowerPC Gamer Supreme blindly. If you are a casual gamer who just wants plug-and-play 1440p or even 4K gaming, solid streaming performance, and you do not obsess over having a premium motherboard or platinum PSU, this is actually a great option. If you are a hardcore builder, overclocker, or someone who wants absolute top-shelf components in every slot, you will be happier building your own rig or going with a boutique custom builder. Use the Gamer Supreme for what it is. A fast, convenient shortcut to high-end performance, not a perfect system. The real mistake is not buying it. It is buying it without knowing what you are really getting.